Welcome to episode 13 of the Other Star franchise, the anti-fascist Star Wars podcast where a couple of Trekkies from the Star Trek fandom discuss Star Wars. We are currently watching a lot of the Star Wars shows, movies, and animation in chronological order leading up to the release of the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. Today we are discussing episodes of the Clone Wars which take place in 19 BBY. I'm Fatheree, this is Taylor. Y'all might know us from the TEX-TREK podcast. Say hi, Miss Taylor.
Hello.
So, hope everyone out there is having a wonderful time. Those of you watching or listening to us live, as well as anyone watching or listening to this later. But, Taylor, we have some big, exciting, big Clone Wars stuff to talk about today. Our cat lady is excited too. Y'all might hear her chiming in a bit. But these were some big episodes from Season 6. All the stuff we're talking about today is from Season 6. If you can see us on screen, you might see our spreadsheet I talk about all the time that I track the episodes that we have watched as well as what we're going to watch next. And currently we are right at the end of Season 6. We just watched Season 6, Episode 5, An Old Friend, on down to Season 6, Episode 13. And then we also watched some of what I'm just going to call the lost episodes or unaired episodes of the Clone Wars. But the 4-episode arc for the Crystal Crisis on Utapau, I think is what it's often referred to as. But yeah, the episodes that used to be available to watch in their story reel version, the unfinished animation, but still watchable on StarWars.com, they took that stuff down. But according to the people who make Star Wars, it's all still canonical. So we figured it was worth our time to watch it and talk about it too. And we'll talk about like some other Clone Wars stuff that didn't quite make it into the show. But things that were supposed to take place in between Season 6 and Season 7. So basically we're gonna finish up our Season 6 talk now and then talk about Season 7 stuff next time. But Taylor, the very first story arc we're talking about from Season 6, Episode 5, An Old Friend, until Season 6, Episode 7, Crisis at the Heart, there's the 3-episode Clovis arc, I guess. Is that what people call it, the Clovis arc?
The second one?
Probably, yeah, I guess the second one. What was Clovis's big deal the first time he showed up? Other than, I guess that was when Anakin had to pretend to be the pilot and then was all, like, butthurt that, like, I can't believe Padme is hanging out with her ex-boyfriend. I feel so jealous and insecure.
He was doing deals with, like, kind of sketchy separatists or something,
right.
She went to get some info.
Right. So she was kind of being a little undercovery, but... Yeah. So how do we want to talk about these? Just all three of these at the same time, I guess?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so just starting off with Season 6, Episode 5, An Old Friend. Please read the summary and remind us what happens in that episode.
While on a mercy mission to the planet Scipio, Padme Amidala's old flame, Rush Clovis, gets in touch with her, asking for help. Having made a stand against the corruption on his planet, Clovis has now become the target of the bounty hunter Imbo. Together with Padme, he is now trying to leave his planet and get help.
And the moral of the episode is, with that Clone Wars little fortune cookie phrase they stick in front of every episode, to love is to trust. To trust is to be believed. So, sorry I tripped on that. I think I mistyped it, but I'm pretty sure that's what I was intending to type. To love is to trust is to believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're basically at Space Switzerland, is what I call Scipio, because it's like a cold, mountainous planet that is neutral and full of banks. It's the home of the banking clan, right?
Yeah.
So you have a lot of those tall, big-head, long-headed guys, the Muns, I think they're called. But that's actually what Darth Plagueis is, the guy who trained Palpatine, who had like that brief appearance in the Acolyte. But yeah, and we saw the bounty hunter Embo there. I was surprised Embo is as villainous as he is. Like, he killed... I can't remember which episode it was in, but he kills one of Padme's handmaidens.
Oh, yeah.
Like, when we think he's, like, gonna try to assassinate Clovis, I'm watching, I'm like, okay, Embo, I can kind of forgive that. But then, like, he's taking shots at Padme and killing her handmaiden and stuff. But then we get Season 6, Episode 6, The Rise of Clovis. What happens there?
Back on Coruscant, Clovis strikes a dubious deal to become the leader of the leader of the banking clan, which is deeply mired in corruption. Anakin doesn't trust Clovis, causing tension in his relationship to Padme.
And the moral is jealousy is the path to chaos. And yeah, this is when you see Anakin at... you know what's bad when you say, okay, here's a guy who we've seen, like, kill children and, like, mass murder a whole village of people. But this is still some of the worst Anakin you ever see.
Yeah,
is him as the jealous husband. Yeah. To the point where he actually gets in a fight with Clovis, and they're, like, trading blows. And like, it does appear that, like, Padme, like, leaves Anakin at some point in this episode, when she's like, oh, I guess our whole marriage is a lie, and it's never going to be real, and I'm just going to walk out on it right now. Mm-hmm. It kind of seems like they don't get back together. Don't get back together until later.
That was actually funny, because you always ask me, do you think Padme's pregnant yet? Do you think Padme's pregnant yet? Do you think Padme's pregnant yet? Yeah, and in this arc, I turned to you and I said, she's definitely already pregnant, because there's no way they're ever having sex again after he acted in this arc.
Oh, he's terrible when he's like, as your husband, I demand that you do this.
Yeah.
It's like no one should be in a marriage with anyone who gives you demands. You don't get to demand your spouse, but I don't care who you are. Well, but yeah, I keep wondering, like, well, is Padme pregnant yet? Because we're in 19 BBY, and that's a big deal. This is the year the twins are born. Luke and Leia will enter the galaxy this year, 19 BBY. So we know that it's like very likely that she's already pregnant. Mm-hmm. But I was even like, when Anakin was being a dick in some of these scenes, I was like, oh man, there's like a little Luke and Leia embryos or like trembling in the Force, because they feel like all this dark side energy coming off of their asshole dad being abusive to their mom. But Clovis is I guess put in charge of the banks, and then we have like the big battle in the episode Crisis of the Heart, when the separatists are on the banking world, Scipio, and then Anakin has to come in with the Republic forces. That's Season 6, Episode 7, Crisis at the Heart.
Clovis's deal with the separatists backfires and consequently brings the war to Scipio, thus provoking the Republic to intervene and ultimately win the battle. In the midst of the chaos, Anakin confronts Clovis just as the duo and Padme are caught in a blast, with Anakin barely managing to cling onto the other two when they virtually fall to their death. Though he intended to pull both up to safety, Anakin merely saves Padme when Clovis allows himself to be killed.
And the moral of the episode is, deceit is the weapon of greed. So the cool thing about this episode, though, is it does feel like a big battle between two generals, with Dooku and Anakin having to command all these clones and ships and troops, and you get like a big space battle, and then like Anakin is like on the front lines when they land on the planet, leading the clones. But I don't know. What do you think about any of this trilogy?
I don't know if they needed to bring Clovis back, honestly. I guess they really just wanted to milk angry Anakin and, like, force us... Or, like, they needed something to, like, start pushing him more and more towards the dark side. You know, like, after Ahsoka has left the Order, now he's, like, more susceptible, I think. And so it's like, oh, that relationship he had with his Padawan is now gone. let's like work on destroying the other relationships he has, you know, to like push him more and more to the dark side, into the Anakin we know in the third prequel movie.
Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah, you know, it's hard for me to keep all the movie names straight. Yeah, I don't know. I don't feel like Clovis is much better than Anakin. I mean, maybe a little, but like he kind of sucks too. So there wasn't a lot in here that I was like.
Padme doesn't have any good prospects. There's like maybe the when she's telling that story to Anakin in the meadow and Attack of the Clones about. It sounds like she's either talking about her first kiss or her first boyfriend, but she's like, we were both in the junior democracy corps of politicians or whatever it was, and like, but you know, like she's like telling the story. It's like, I hope that guy at least was nice, because yeah, Clovis and Anakin, it's like, but we were joking around like, oh, Clovis is like this hardcore libertarian. He wants to, you know, like deregulate the banks. He was like raised by these bankers on Scipio.
Yeah.
And Anakin is a hardcore fascist.
I think Padme's problem is like, she's written by men who are like, oh, this is a woman who will fix a man. Like, that's her goal. She's like, I can fix him. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, he may have those issues, but I'll deal with it and we'll work through it together and he'll come out better on the other side. Like, no. Like, that never works. Spoilers for any other person out there that's thinking that in their relationship.
I would just recommend in general, don't date fascist or libertarians.
Or genocide people. Or mass murder. I shouldn't say genocide because it wasn't,
well,
but still.
Most fascists are going to be okay with genocide and mass murder. But yeah, she did not have very good prospects with either one of these two guys, and they both have their moments of likability, but yeah, at the end of the day, like, well, you have an asshole ideology, and it's kind of making you always an asshole, so you need to do some work and grow out of that, but...
I definitely felt like this was kind of, I don't want to say it was boring, but it was definitely like the drama was there for the drama, and like everything that had to do with the bank stuff, my eyes just like glaze over. I'm like, okay, so, more politics.
But I like the prequel politics. I like seeing how the this neoliberal society corrupts itself into fascism and you know, like kneecaps every possible like off ramp, and yeah, it's there's a lot of like strange real world parallels to be drawn from that, and I also kind of like some of the melodrama. I kind of like seeing Anakin as such a dick. Like I didn't want Clone Wars or the prequels to kind of whitewash, you know, Darth Vader and like show him as like, oh, he was actually an alright guy after. I was like, you know, at the end of the day, like, this guy is kind of a piece of shit. Like, I'm glad that he has his moment of redemption in the end and tries to make it up to his son. But I'm also kind of glad that he dies after that. Like, yeah, for sure. Otherwise, like, I would want to see him like put on trial and then locked up in a hole and never a free man again. You know, but. What about Scipio? I think it's kind of a cool planet with all the big clockwork stuff and...
Yeah.
I never thought of it. I might have previously. I don't remember having strong thoughts on Scipio. But, it is very, like, space Switzerland, you know?
Yeah, I can see that.
The ski chase battle with Embo?
Oh, yeah, that was really
cool as hell.
He was really holding his own there.
Embo, we always thought he was like, a cool bro. He seems like a decent dude. Like, oh yeah, I'll go get a drink with Embo. He seems like a fun guy to hang out with, maybe go on like a bounty hunting job with. But you watch this and you're like, oh, that guy is a killer for hire and he is scary as hell.
Yeah, I love that he used his hat as a saucer to snowboard down the mountain on.
Yeah.
And I was like low-key thinking he's force sensitive a little bit because there were some times that I was like, he's definitely done. Like, he's going to get ate by that snow slope. And then he just keeps on going.
Yeah, I got
some skill.
I was a little butthurt when Embo first started like shooting at Padme. I was like, man, Embo, I thought you were my boy, and now it's like I can't trust you. You're trying to kill these hero characters, but I can respect him as a worthy foe. So, but. I don't know. You have any other thoughts on the Clovis trilogy?
Kind of have a similar, I mean, not super similar, but remember like Ahsoka when she was rescuing Lux and Stila falls? She wasn't chosen to fall like this.
Yeah,
but
on Onderon in the Saw Gerrera arc.
Yeah, when like Anakin's like holding Padme and Clovis, and he's like, I can't hold both of you, and then Clovis lets go. Kind of gave me some reminiscence of that last thing with Ahsoka on Onderon. But, I don't know. Definitely feeling that wedge between Anakin and Padme. I like that she basically was like, leave me alone.
We should talk about that. Yeah, when Padme like walks out on their marriage, and we don't like Anakin does come back and like rescue her with like the Republic forces and the clone army and everything later. Mm-hmm. But that's kind of just him doing his job as the Jedi General.
Right.
Like after that, it kind of seems like she's just gonna go home with her Senate life, and he's gonna go back to doing Jedi stuff. And they're not
definitely on a break.
Yeah, so I don't think that we see them together on screen again. I know they have like a holo call in an episode in the Bad Batch arc of season 7.
They also have a call. Oh yeah, the one where Rex is like wink wink.
Yeah,
I know about it.
But I don't think they're not like in the same room again until Revenge of the Sith, right?
Yeah, when she's like, I'm pregnant.
Yeah, so I kind of like that. I kind of like that. Like this might have been the end of their relationship, and then she's like, well, shit, I'm pregnant. I guess we're gonna try to work this out again. And then, I mean, it's tragic that that ends up with her being choked to death and him turning into Darth Vader. But yeah, that's part of the tragedy. I mean, like, there's no way to spin it other than a tragic story, you know. Sure. Until Luke and Leia. Yeah, Luke and Leia are the redemption of these two, Padme and Anakin, who both kind of suck.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess that covers it for Scipio. Joel in the live audience is asking, does Scipio have chocolate? And I guess that would make it more Swiss. I can see the Muns having a little chocolate sweet tooth. I don't know. I would like to think so. But let's talk about the next 2 episodes. Taylor looks super excited to talk about the Disappeared parts 1 and 2. But if your favorite characters are Mace Windu and Jar Jar Binks, then you're going to love this because they go on a big buddy adventure together. If
your favorite characters are Mace Windu and Jar Jar Binks, please send us a direct message and explain why.
I could see people... I can see people really liking one of those characters and be like, I actually love so-and-so, but I can't imagine someone who, like, loves both of them. You're not no one's a diehard stan of both of those characters. And I think they're both terrible people, to be honest.
I want a thesis with 3 points and supporting references and facts. Thanks.
Oh, but here we see Mace Windu and Jar Jar go on, like, an Indiana Jones-type, Temple of Doom-type adventure. But tell us, what happens in Disappeared Part 1?
The peaceful world of Bardota finds itself threatened by an ancient prophecy. Since now, of all times, its spiritual leaders have vanished. Bardota's people ask their representative in the Senate for help, and Jar Jar Binks indeed manages to convince Jedi Master Mace Windu that this matter is of grave importance.
And the moral is, without darkness, there cannot be light. But when they go to this planet, Bardota, the queen there, Queen Julia, it's a very, well, I guess like Luke is a name in Star Wars. Like, that's like a very normal name, Julia. But Queen Julia is this alien lady who how would you describe how she looks? Kind of like duck-like, right?
Yeah,
like
more birdie than amphibian like Jar Jar.
So they're kind of like duckish-looking people. There's like a planet of duckish people.
It's like almost goose-like.
But she's in love with Jar Jar.
Yeah.
And he loves her back. They're in love.
Surprise.
And they spend a lot of time together, and it's strange to think about. I mean, we know
there's like even a point where Mace is like, they've been in there for a long time. And I'm like, ew, what is that insinuating?
It's like George wanted us to know that Jar Jar fucks.
Yeah, that's gross. Well, I didn't need to know that. It didn't need to be canon.
Talk about the Disappeared Part 2. What do we have there?
In order to fulfill a dark prophecy, a mysterious cult kidnaps Julia, queen of the planet Bardoda. Now Jedi Master Mace Windu and Senate Representative Jar Jar Binks need to give everything in order to stop the cult. If they fail, the cult might unleash a dreadful force.
And the moral of the story is, wisdom is born in fools as well as wise men. So, is there wisdom born in Jar Jar?
No.
I mean, he always seems to win in the end, you know? So,
I think that's because he's force sensitive and lucky. Not because he's smart.
Not because he's wise.
Right.
But yeah, it's very like Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, but there's this cult on this planet that is taking the life force out of people. They can like drain it out of you.
Dude, it's like brutal too.
Yeah.
Like where they like slide you down the massive pyramid into the green like electric field, and you basically just get electrocuted.
Yeah, it's very much like the scene in the Temple of Doom of like the still beating heart being magically
I've only
pulled
seen
out.
that once, like 15 years ago.
You know what? This is going to be a controversial comment, but I think there's only one great Indiana Jones movie, and there's one good Indiana Jones movie, and that's it. It's just like Raiders of the Lost Ark. I think is like a great movie. It's like a perfect movie. I wouldn't change anything in it. Temple of Doom, I don't think is very good. And then Raiders of the Lost, or not Raiders, The Last Crusade. Last Crusade, I think it's good. Not great, but good. And I couldn't finish Crystal Skull, and I didn't watch whatever the one they made after that was. So,
Well, I think you've listed like 3 that I don't even know. So.
But yeah, I say just stick with Raiders of the Lost Ark, because I don't think any of the others are anywhere near as good as it is. But I know there are people who like love Indiana Jones, like I love Star Trek or Star Wars or DC or Marvel Comics or whatever. But yeah, I don't think it's that good most of the time. But that's just me.
This is another one though that's weird to me because somehow Jar Jar convinces of all Jedi like Mace to go with him. And like there was like, do you remember when Satine was like on a Switzerland neutral Mandalore and she called for help to Obi-Wan and they're like, yeah, no, we're not gonna call that one. We're not gonna phone in over there. We're not gonna get involved. And then Obi-Wan goes solo. Remember? And then she dies.
Mm-hmm.
It's like just happened. And it's like in this story, like we have a similar situation where a love interest calls for help and they go. It's just annoying that it's like they're inconsistent as hell. I'm like, okay, so it doesn't matter whenever it's Satine, but it does matter when it's this random Julia person.
I guess, is it fair to call this the last bad episode of the Clone Wars, though? As the last, like, stupid thing? Out of, like, we've reached a point where there really aren't any bad episodes other than stupid Jar Jar episodes and stupid droid episodes. And this is the last stupid Jar Jar episode.
Thank God.
Or the last 2, I should say. Disappeared parts 1 and 2. Is it the worst of the bad Jar Jar episodes, though?
No.
Yeah, I don't think it is.
No, there's way worse Jar Jar episodes.
It's cool. You see Mother Talzin in this. Like, the cult is serving her. So it makes it feel like this isn't that... It's not filler. It's like, it's actually telling us something about a key character like Talzin.
Yeah, it was good that they had all that green energy and smoky stuff, because I was thinking that tied back to Mother Talzin, too, before it was revealed. So they did a good job tying that in. Yeah, that's good. I forgot to bring that.
And we'll have some more Talzin talk later. But one of the things that Taylor and I were talking about with Talzin after the big Night Sister showdown and massacre, but we were trying to figure out, is Talzin a physical being, or is she just kind of like a spirit on the planet? And in The Disappeared, she arrives on this world, Bordata, in a ship, so you think she's a physical person, but then at the end of the episode, she like disappears. So I think like an empty ship showed up, and the projection of her spirit just walks off of the ship, but she was actually never a passenger on the ship.
Interesting.
But, you have any other thoughts on The Disappeared? I think I've said everything, I think.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Oh, I guess, what would be the worst Jar Jar episode? We agreed it's not this. I think, you said before that Bombad Jedi you think is the worst on,
It's up there. I think, honestly, the
The
Phantom
Rhodian
Menace...
planet? Rhodia?
The Phantom Menace is my least favorite Jar Jar episode.
I think there's stuff to like. There's a good bit to like in the Phantom Menace, as we discussed when we covered that. I was surprised how much I enjoyed in that movie. I don't think it's a good movie, but it's one I enjoy. My least favorite Jar Jar thing, I think, is the Blue Shadow virus.
Oh, that one's horrible. Yeah, you're right. No, that's the worst one.
I don't really mind Bombad Jedi as much because
that would be a close second.
Bombad Jedi, I kind of like the 3PO stuff.
Yeah, he's funny.
And I like the Rhodian. I don't know. I like the swamp creatures of Rhodia, I guess, or I don't hate it as much as Blue Shadow virus. But I think my favorite Jar Jar episode in the Clone Wars, now that we've watched all of them, is actually that episode Supply Lines, the season 3 episode that takes place before season 1. When we see Jar Jar, he has to like juggle and do those tricks to distract the Toydarians and the Nemoidians from the ship's
Yeah, he's working with Bail Organa.
Yeah, but then you see the clone general. I mean the clone commander and the Jedi general on Ryloth that he's doing that for, and like it was like, man, like Jar Jar
is doing something.
Yeah, he's part of like that war effort. He's like saving lives by being a buffoon.
Yeah, so. He's like, I'll be the court jester.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and
use it in the correct way.
I love that. Yeah. That's like. This is so corny, but it comes from the live-action Speed Racer movie. But there's like a scene in that movie when this character says to Speed Racer, he's a guy who drives race cars. That's all you need to know about him. And his name is Speed Racer. And this other character says to him, Speedy, you can't save the world by racing cars. And he says, racing cars is all I know how to do. And it's like, take that thing that you do better than anyone else, and that's your solution. You use that to win the day. I love that.
Yeah.
Embrace what you are and kick ass with it. So, good job, Jar Jar, embracing your role as the buffoon. But enough about that clown. That is the last Jar Jar-centric story we are going to talk about. We've done it, Taylor. We've gotten through all of the Jar Jar bullshit. He shows up as a background character in Revenge of the Sith, but he says like excuse me, and like that's it. And then we see him in like 2 shots and we're done. Jar Jar is history. We made it.
Cool. So
now we're going to talk about, what is this, 4 episodes? Oh yeah, your other favorite character, Yoda. Taylor.
Oh God.
Taylor actually does not like Yoda. It's crazy to me, but it's true. She does not like him. But this is the arc that ended season 6. Season 6 episodes 10 through 13. The last one, Voices, Destiny, and Sacrifice. Tell us what happened in season 6 episode 10, The Lost One.
Jedi Master Sifo-Dyas died under mysterious circumstances years ago. When a secret Jedi mission accidentally finds his crashed ship and lightsaber, Anakin Skywalker, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Master Yoda investigate Sifo-Dyas' death again. To keep them from uncovering the Sith conspiracy, Darth Sidious orders Dooku to erase all traces that link up to the murder investigation. This is successful, and Dooku escapes shortly after Obi-Wan and Anakin learn that he was the one who killed Sifo-Dyas under his Sith alias Darth Tyrannus, the same name under which he commissioned the clone army. Now knowing that Dooku has had a hand in creating the clones, the Jedi decide to keep the knowledge to themselves to avoid widespread panic and confusion until they know more.
In other words, a cover-up.
What's the moral?
What is lost is often found.
Yeah, they're lost to morals.
Maybe they find them too. Like
when? Not in this episode.
What Yoda? Well, at the end of this arc, Yoda realizes like we have lost our way, but maybe we'll lose this war, but maybe there will be a new hope.
Okay.
In the future.
This is the shit that always bothers me, and I feel like I just talk myself in circles and circles and circles about this. But just like in Attack of the Clones, I think I already brought this up when we covered that. But it's just, okay, you show up. Also, like, you chase Jango Fett.
Yeah,
who
recap the whole thing.
was trying to assassinate Padme.
Right, so Obi-Wan chases Jango Fett to Kamino.
All the way to Kamino. And then shows up and the Kaminoans are like, oh, finally, Jedi, you're here for all these clones.
We've been cooking up clones, bro. We got all these clones ready for you.
And they're based off of Jango Fett, this crazy-ass bounty hunter that you chased here because of attempted murder. And they're like, you want to meet him and his son? And, like, everything's cool. And also this army's for you. Like, how... And then, like, it just makes me upset because he knows he's a quote-unquote bad guy, right, in that situation. And then later in that movie, like, Count Dooku, who's a known separatist leader, whatever, is at Geonosis during this whole, like, Coliseum scene, leading the front as the bad guy. And who fucking shows up next to him? Jango Fett. And it's like, okay...
Obi-Wan followed him from Kamino to Geonosis.
And it's like, okay, so, like, maybe that's not the guy that you want cloned to be your army. And if he is there next to Dooku after willingly giving his fucking DNA to make a clone army, you would think, like, oh, well, that means that Dooku had a hand in that, obviously. And, like, and that's what makes me so pissed. Like, they're just so stupid. Like, they just have no, like, that just never crosses their mind. And then it's like, oh, we'll have an arc that explains that. And I'm like, okay, this arc makes y'all look like bigger buffoons. Like, worse, okay? Because you're saying that you don't know that Count Dooku is fucking Darth Tyrannus.
Well, they do now.
I know, but how the fuck did they not know that before? Like, he literally just has a cloak on.
Because Taylor, as we've seen throughout the show, whenever Dooku appears to someone as Darth Tyrannus, he pulls his hood over his head. And it's like Clark Kent's glasses.
And, like, these Jedi can, like, sense things in the Force. Don't even get me started on that. That happens a lot in these 4 episodes. It pisses me off. I'm like, how the hell did they not know that it was that guy and not this guy? Like, same for the Ahsoka arc with Barriss.
Yeah, how did she know that was... How did she not know that was Barriss instead of Ventress?
Like, she was wearing the same outfit, and doesn't her Force energy, like, feel different? Like, what the hell? And so I think, like, in this arc, when we're seeing, like, Darth Tyrannus is revealed to be Count Dooku, it's not a reveal. Like, I feel like these people are just dumb, and, like, they're not, like, listening to their Force instincts.
I can understand them not knowing that Tyrannus is Dooku. Like, if they've never heard Darth Tyrannus, because I think all Jango Fett says in Attack of the Clones is, I was hired by a man named Tyrannus on one of the moons of Bogdan, or something like that. But, yeah, they should have been suspicious, like, well, why was Jango working for Dooku and working for Kamino?
Hello.
But, okay, I used to be really pissy at all of the logical plot holes in the prequels and all the stuff like that. And I gotta say, I've loosened up on a lot of it because I have watched real-life institutions do, like, the stupidest shit and just be like, how can you, like, drag your feet and not prosecute Trump? Like, it would be a fucking disaster if he got back in the White House before you could lock him up and just stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So I kind of liked seeing the incompetence of these institutions in Star Wars in this corrupt, bloated, impotent neoliberal democracy that is speed running its way into an authoritarian fascist state. But yes, I absolutely can relate to you finding it frustrating. Yeah. And it does make them look kind of dumb. But the Sifo-Dyas stuff, I thought that was cool because, one, like, I remember going to see Attack of the Clones in 2002, and they mentioned the Sifo-Dyas guy, and then everyone told us, like, George Lucas and, like, producer Rick McCallum, they were like, oh yeah, we'll explain that in Revenge of the Sith. There's more to it than you know. And then they never did. Mm-hmm. So I was like, well, hell, finally, all these years later, they try to explain it.
Honestly, though, cool-ass name for never really get an action Jedi moment from him. Like, we see him as a hologram. He looks cool as hell.
So, yeah, just Sifo-Dyas, for people who don't know or don't recall, he was a Jedi in the years before the Phantom Menace. I think they say he was on the Jedi Council.
Yeah.
But he kept having visions of there's going to be this great war. The Jedi are going to be in this massive war that's going to tear the galaxy apart, and they really need an army. The Jedi must get an army to win this war. And he wouldn't shut up about this, and so they finally kicked him off of the Council. And then
he kind of went rogue.
Yeah.
Like, and it sounds like he pulled Dooku in on it.
Right, because him and Dooku were friends. They were Jedis together.
Yeah.
And Dooku leaves the Order. He's off being a rogue Jedi.
Right, but I think at that point, it was Palpatine pulling the strings.
Yeah.
Once Dooku was involved, and not necessarily Sifo-Dyas being like, okay, Kaminoans, let's do this. I think it was like Palpatine through Dooku suggesting to Sifo-Dyas,
Right.
what's up.
And I think at this time, it's probably like right before the Phantom Menace, and Sidious is training Maul as his apprentice. Mm-hmm. But he knows, like, okay, this guy is like, he's going to be like a good assassin, he's going to be a good enforcer. He is not a political instrument, he doesn't have it in him to be like the face of an empire or like the head of state or anything like that. I mean, like,
looks like a demon.
We see how he rules Mandalore, and he's like, I'm gonna be behind the scenes and have my puppet Almec. Yeah. So I think around this time, like in the years right before the Phantom Menace, that's probably when Palpatine / Sidious is like, okay, I'm going to ditch Maul. I'm going to get this lost Jedi Dooku, this guy who already has all of these political ideals. I'm going to use him to lead the Separatist Civil War, and his buddy Sifo-Dyas is going to put in the order for the clone army that we're going to need the Jedi to have so that we have somebody to fight.
And then we'll kill him.
Yeah.
So that the secret's safe with us.
Yeah, and then...
And the Kaminoans.
Until the Jedi uncover... they find Sifo-Dyas' lightsaber, and that's what starts the investigation.
Yeah, Plo Koon finds it.
I thought that was kind of cool, though. I like when Clone Wars does murder mystery type things, and you like having that, like, oh, the lightsaber. But, that's such a more fun, enticing mystery than it being like his dead body or something,
Yeah.
And something kind of unique to Star Wars. But there's also one of the most epic Dooku lightsaber fights in this episode. When Dooku versus Obi-Wan and Anakin, when they go to the Pikes, the drug dealers, the Pikes, they had
Silman, yeah.
Yeah, so Sifo-Dyas was traveling with Supreme Chancellor Valorum's aide, Silman. People might remember Valorum from The Phantom Menace. He was played by Terrence Stamp, or General Zod from the Christopher Reeve Superman movies. So kind of cool to have him in Star Wars, I guess, even if it is in The Phantom Menace. Well, one thing, Tim Curry's Palpatine voice acting is growing on me. I think I forgot to mention it last week, but the guy, I think his name is Ian Abercrombie. So he was voicing Palpatine / Sidious all Clone Wars long until he passed away, and they hired a great character actor. Everyone, I think, really appreciates this dude, Tim Curry. But I feel kind of bad for saying, but like I didn't like, of all the people I've heard voice Palpatine, Tim Curry is probably my least favorite.
I think that's because he does a really good job voicing Sidious.
Yes, he's a better Sidious than he is a Palpatine.
Whenever it's Palpatine, it's like not malicious enough. Like he's like trying to be, he's trying to like, because I think he's such a big like actor, it's like, I think it's hard for him to dial it back enough.
It's not that nuanced enough. He can either do one extreme or the other.
Yeah, I think he maybe just wasn't able to find like a middle ground for his Palpatine. But his Sidious is menacing and good. Like I think nailed it for that. So.
And originally they wanted him as the Joker in Batman the Animated Series. Mm-hmm. And it said like it was too hard on his voice to do like the Joker voice he came up with. And then they hired Mark Hamill. But that's kind of funny that like that went to another Star Wars actor, and now Tim Curry's in Star Wars here.
Yeah.
But like what bothered me is like he doesn't say Valorum right. He says Valorum.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Tim Curry, go watch The Phantom Menace and try to talk like Ian McDiarmid. Like, just... I mean, I don't know. Maybe Dave Filoni wasn't like, I'm not going to tell this acting legend Tim Curry that he needs to go watch the fucking movie first before he comes into the booth.
Well, it's kind of weird to me that someone's not there to help them with pronunciation anyway.
Yeah, I'd be like, actually, Tim, it's Valorum.
Like, wouldn't that be like part of the walkthrough in the script,
Yeah, they should have caught that. But, anyhow...
Because it's embarrassing because right after he says it, Valorum, Yoda on the outside of that door says Valorum. Like, he literally repeats it back I think to Obi-Wan,
Mm.
and says it correctly.
But there's a lot of Sidious stuff in these episodes, so yeah, Tim Curry does kind of shine. I should mention though, we heard a lot of Palpatine talking to Anakin in the Scipio arc, because Palpatine does like the really like nice thing to Anakin, like, oh yeah, I'll just give you permission to like take a bunch of clones and go rescue Senator Padme. It's just another example of Palpatine coming through for Anakin and being just so nice and so supportive and so understanding, while Mace Windu is being a fucking asshole to him. And then we see what happens in that office battle in Revenge of the Sith. So, after the Sifo-Dyas stuff is exposed and it's revealed that Dooku is Darth Tyrannus and that he was involved in the creation of the clone army. That sends Yoda on his own little journey in Season 6, Episode 11, Voices.
Yoda is deeply unsettled when he hears the voice of his deceased friend Qui-Gon Jinn in his head, because he knows that not even a Jedi can speak to the living from beyond the grave. The Jedi Council is concerned about Yoda's behavior and wants to examine him further. But with the help of Anakin, Yoda escapes from the hospital and he sets out to find the origin of the voice by himself.
And the moral of the episode is madness can sometimes be the path to truth.
Yeah, man, this arc is a little rough for me.
Well, I like Yoda asking Anakin for help escaping.
That's the best part.
Yeah, he's like, I know you're the rule breaker.
yeah, he's like, get me out of this hospital prison.
And it's cool to have Liam Neeson back voicing Qui-Gon Jinn. That's always a delight. I think I have issues with R2-D2 and Yoda having this relationship and like knowing each other and being co-workers who go on a mission together. And then, in The Empire Strikes Back, it really seems like they don't know each other, and that's the kind of prequel shit that pisses me off. But I do like Yoda's little Yoda-sized starfighter that has a R2-D2 at the back. I don't know, they look cute flying around in that thing together. But yeah, they go on a planet-hopping adventure together. Taylor, tell us what happens in Season 6, Episode 12, Destiny.
Guided by the Force, Yoda travels to the heart of the galaxy. There, on the planet where he finds the origin of the Force, he must face difficult trials. Only upon passing them will the sages deem him worthy of learning the deepest mysteries of the Force.
And the moral is death is just the beginning. So this is when he goes to Dagobah, right? He goes
no.
He goes to Dagobah before he goes to Moraband.
Yeah, this is that freaky planet that has like...
Does he go to Moraband in Destiny, or does that happen? I don't think that happens until Sacrifice, when he meets Darth Bane.
I think the last two are both on Moraband, but he's only on Dagobah when he's talking to Qui-Gon Jinn that one time, and then he tells him that he has to go.
They talk about midi-chlorians. They try to explain some of that to make it... So they say in here that like the midi-chlorians is just how the Force talks to you, and I feel like that was like Dave Filoni trying to be like, your midi-chlorian count... Yeah, it's not... The Force doesn't determine your midi-chlorian count, your Force ability... Your midi-chlorian count doesn't determine your Force sensitivity. Your Force sensitivity determines your midi-chlorian count.
Interesting.
I don't know if that makes sense, but it made sense to me, finally. I still don't really like it.
This arc is so tough. There's parts of it I like. Like, I want to like these sages and him doing the trials.
Because
I want to like that.
Weird Force stuff.
And I like the idea of the magic back. Some of my favorite things are just the designs of this, but some of the actual trials I think are stupid. And, they just seem too basic. It's oh, Yoda, don't yell at this person. And he doesn't. And then, he's like, yay, I passed. And I'm like, that was too easy. You're 900 years old.
Right. So these
trials are too easy.
Yeah, those spirit things, the different faces.
Yeah, I know that was kind of silly. That was very Inside Out. All the different emotions as a character.
To me, this arc, I have issues with it mainly in how it kind of demystifies Yoda. I like him being just this wise old Muppet in the swamp who just
Wise?
Yeah, like when Luke talks about looking for a great warrior, and he doesn't even know this is Yoda. That he's like, this is like some weird annoying creature, and then Yoda says, "Great warrior, ha! War doesn't make one great." It's just like this is like wise, all-knowing thing that was just like so like kind of like Uncle Iroh from Avatar: The Last Airbender, but like the size of a Muppet, and it's just. But even like more mysterious than that, but almost kind of like another worldly creature, like you don't know his origin or his past or whatever, but he's like so strong and powerful, he can just raise a ship by raising his hand. So seeing him like get distracted at work or like having to go in a Bacta tank for like a medical examination or
like,
just
okay, this kid, like, he's 900 years old. Maybe he has a little bit of dementia. And, like, they don't fucking roll that out. Like,
it does seem that way. But and then here, like, when he's off going on, like, the planet-hopping adventure, it just seems so... He just becomes, like, so, like, pedestrian and demystified. And I don't like that.
I have a really hard time when they give Yoda too much dialogue. I don't like his cadence, like the like flip-flopped sentences
Listening
in paragraphs.
to many sentences out of order you do not like.
No, I think it's so annoying. Like, I think it works for like one or two lines, but in some of these stories, like, he has multiple lines like back to back to back, and it's like I'm frustrated because I know what you're trying to say, but it sounds stupid.
And the annoying thing about that is if you look at Yoda's dialogue in The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, it's not nearly as like scrambled up and backwards as his prequel dialogue is. It's like they increase the number of words he says out of order in the newer material.
Like, in my opinion, that wasn't like how his species talks. That was like him trying to like he was like what am I trying to say? There's like a word like enhance. That's like his
like
meaning of
his,
the word.
His
like
teaching style. He tries to emphasize things that way.
And inflect by changing the order of the sentence. But then they took that and milked it too hard. Like, do or do not. There is no try. Like, okay, that's cool.
Yeah, it sounds like something like how Socrates would phrase something.
Yeah,
he's teaching to the ancient Greeks and his wisdom. Yeah.
But when he's like, to Dagobah we go, you and I, R2. I'm like, God damn, like, get it together. Like, that just doesn't seem like the same kind of thing. Like, it doesn't feel like... I feel like Yoda would be more intentional with, like, his sentences when they need inflection versus when they don't. But it's like whoever is writing the dialogue, instead of, like, understanding that it was supposed to be, like, teacher Yoda versus Yoda's regular dialogue.
You know who wrote some great Yoda, though? Rian Johnson in The Last Jedi.
Well, we'll revisit that.
It's something.
I've only seen that movie twice.
We're going to save those for next year.
I hate those movies. We'll have...
No, you don't.
I do.
There's stuff that you like in all three of them. There's stuff that you love in all three of them.
Well, we'll have this conversation on air another time, I'm sure. But, yeah, Yoda's tough. And I think I struggle, too. I think he looks too young in the prequels for him being, like, 900. Like, from him being 900 here to him being 919... He looks so much older on Dagobah. And, like, he looks like a little puppy.
They updated the CGI model in season 5, I think. They had, like, an older CGI model of Yoda, and then the one in 5... I didn't really notice until I looked at a picture of the two compared, and, like, the season 5 and onward one looks way better. But I'm trying to remember what he looks like in Rebels. I think they kind of digress the look of the character in Rebels. But
yeah. I think I was struggling, too, with, like, his one ear is up, one ear is down.
Oh, that looks like our dog Amos.
His stupid teeth, like, they look like these weird, creepy little fang things, but they also are, like, minuscule. So they look like rice teeth things.
You really hate Yoda.
And then he's got these massive feet that, like, when he sits, they're, like, in his face. Dude, they're huge.
Cute little 3 toes.
He's supposed to be 900. He's not supposed to be cute. Like, with his little big feet. I don't know. They look like dinosaur feet.
Mm.
And I don't know. And, like, when they put him in the Bacta tank, I was like, I don't think y'all need to go all out with this massive Bacta tank. Like, do y'all have a Bacta light? Because he'd probably fit in, like, the mini version.
Yeah, the back to tank, like the thing that Luke is in The Empire Strikes Back when he's getting his medical treatment, that big water tank that he's floating around in after the Wampa attack. They have Yoda in like that same size. But it's like they don't keep like a miniature one for just even Pill and Yoda and Yaddle.
They also have Padawans and younglings.
Oh yeah, that is true. They put them in like the child, but I don't know. I don't know. Maybe this is kind of messed up to even like compare this, but I'm just curious. Like someone who is, real life a little person or a dwarf, like how do they feel about like just take like the kid version of things, like, or would they rather try to fit into like the adult size?
Well,
version?
I don't think that it would be like this back to tank in my mind. It would just be like small, medium, and large, and you get in. It's like the same as like a blood pressure cuff. Like they have different sizes of those based off of the size you need.
No.
So it's like just.
Not enough.
I don't think it's like back to kid version. I don't think it's like that.
Not enough medical variety is determined at the Jedi
kidding.
Temple healthcare
I'm off
facilities.
track here. There's other things I want to bitch about. Like, I thought that the Qui-Gon Jinn light force thing was so... okay, like, the other thing is, I did not need to know, and I did not give a shit, why some of the Jedi are Force ghosts and some are not.
Well, that was a big... in 1999, a lot of us were, like, scratching our heads. Like, why doesn't Qui-Gon Jinn disappear like Obi-Wan and Yoda did? So,
like his body.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because, like, we needed this explained to us.
So this is, like, some scrubbing.
It was a promise that the prequels would get around to it eventually, and it's the same thing. It's like we got to Revenge of the Sith, and that one line from Yoda where he tells Obi-Wan, like, I've communed with Qui-Gon. And Obi-Wan's like, what the... You've communed with Qui-Gon?
Yeah.
And Yoda's like, yeah, we'll talk about it. And then that's all we get.
Oh, speaking of that, let's backtrack just a bit. Anakin brought up talking to Qui-Gon on Mortis, so it is canon that they remember Mortis. Because whenever we were watching that arc, they kind of like woke up in the ship, like, where are we? What happened?
Yeah.
Blah, blah. And they never confirm if they remember or don't remember.
Yeah, so apparently they
do remember.
Yeah. And they all three probably remember, so they know it's like, well, that couldn't have been a dream.
Yeah, but I didn't super love the whole how to become a Force ghost thing. I think that's really silly. I think, like, in my mind, it's like, if you're just, like, a super exceptional Jedi who've, like, done a really good job at neutrality, like, that just happens to you. Or whatever. And it's like, I don't think Anakin should have ever become a Force ghost. That's so
like
stupid.
That's like the equivalent of, like, you go to Valhalla or whatever.
Yeah,
you
like,
ascend.
if you die with honor, a Jedi honorable death, whatever, you ascend or whatever. But, like, I don't know, if you're Anakin, who's been fucking terrible, and also did not do all of the Dagobah blah blah bullshit, like, for a fact, I think we know he didn't do that. I don't know, actually. Now that I'm saying out loud. Did he ever go and do all this training that Yoda's done? Because if so, I don't think he'd be Darth Vader. Like, he wouldn't have passed the trials. So why is he a Force ghost?
Anakin?
Yeah.
Yeah, he does show up as a ghost at the very end.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's a chosen one gets to be a blue glowy on default.
That's some bullshit. He is not the chosen one. They all think he is, but he's not. This is what happens. We were watching something recently.
He is the chosen one in that he was like this virgin birth, and then he goes off to, like, when he like kills Palpatine when he throws him down the elevator shaft on the Death Star, and then he dies himself, and then that is what restores balance to the Force.
What were we watching recently when we were like, you can't call them the chosen ones because that's when they start fucking up?
I don't know. What were we watching?
Oh, man. I don't remember. But I think, like, once you start telling someone, like, you've been picked and you're chosen or whatever, that's when it all goes downhill.
Qui-Gon Jinn was picked to be the he's like the emissary of the Force to Yoda, to teach Yoda into how to be a blue glowy, so he can teach Obi-Wan, so that they can together help guide Luke, who in turn redeems Anakin, so that he can complete his mission to restore balance to the Force.
Yeah, y'all are not gonna like my thoughts on Vader's redemption. I can already tell. Spoilers, I don't think he was redeemed. Anyway, I guess him being a Force ghost, I'll just have to live with that. But I don't know, I thought all this, like, trial stuff with Yoda was annoying. But what was the last episode where... Okay, so the last episode is Sacrifice.
Yeah, so what happens in Season 6, Episode 13, Sacrifice?
On Moraband, the homeworld of the Sith, the time has come for Yoda to pass his final test. Only then will he learn the best-kept secret of his order. But first he encounters a vision that heavily foreshadows what is to come, which involves Yoda facing the spirit of Darth Bane. During this time, Darth Sidious summons Count Dooku to his hideout, whereupon the duo plan to break Yoda, which stages an inevitable confrontation in the realm of the mind between the Sith Lords and Yoda alongside Skywalker and his squad. Yoda realizes that no matter who wins the Clone Wars or what the future holds, there will one day be a new hope.
And the moral of the episode is facing all that you fear will free you from yourself. And yeah, this is the second episode that I thought would be the last episode of the Clone Wars. Originally when Season 5 finished, a lot of us thought when Ahsoka walks away from the Jedi Order, like, oh, okay, they're never going to release another Clone Wars episode, this is it. And then when they dumped these 13 on Netflix, which this is but the first time I watched the show, I actually watched it all the way through. This is where I stopped, because this was already out there. But I was like, oh, okay, so Yoda learns how to be a blue glowy, and he accepts that the Clone Wars might not work out for the Jedi, and he accepts that defeat because he hopes that there will be this new hope. Luke and Leia and all of that, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. So.
The chosen ones. They're chosen and not told they're chosen, and that's why they do it right.
Yeah, I guess they wait till they're like 19 to clue them in on anything. But yeah, 19 BBY. That's a big year. We'll get to their big moment in 19 years. This Clone War is taking a long time, and then we're gonna just like blaze through the
what
next
I'm
few
a little
years.
bit irritated about is that they waited this long to have like any kind of really big Yoda stories. Like we had the one where he was leading the clone armies with the torch.
Oh, right, in Season 1, yeah.
Yeah, and I liked that episode. That was actually a pretty fun Yoda episode, and enjoyed him.
Yeah,
he was a little laughy for me.
But I liked him, him encouraging the clones, like, it made me want to follow him, you know?
Yeah.
He seems like a good leader.
And this kind of stuff was less interesting to me. I would have liked to see more Yoda in battle. But I guess he's so old and he's taking care of the kids. Like, they don't want him out there. And I guess they're kind of, like, benching him because, like, he is, like, I guess one of the stronger Jedi.
And he's, like, in charge of a lot of stuff. Yeah. Like, I think, like, canonically, he's... It's hard to tell, like, when Mace Windu is in command of the Council or if Yoda... But I think Jedi High Council is like Mace Windu is the head of the council, but Yoda I think is head of the army. He's like the supreme commander of their military forces.
I feel like that should be opposite.
Probably maybe that was one of the mistakes.
It's kind of silly that Yoda would be the battle person whenever he barely goes out, whereas Mace is out pretty much more frequently than Yoda.
I think the Clone Wars really does enhance the prequel movies in that we get a clearer picture of how the Jedi made a lot of mistakes and they walked themselves into this shitty situation that they can't escape from. Like, what can they do in the war at this point? Like, Yoda has admitted, like, yeah, like the Clone Wars isn't going to work out for us. But, like, they can't just stop fighting, you know? They can't just, like... Well, we can't just, like, hand over the clone army to, like, all the Tarkins and Palpatine's, you know, select picks like that.
Yeah.
And then they're also like, but we also can't, like, let the Separatists win, because, you know, they're fucking terrible.
Yeah. The other thing that pisses me off in this arc, when they decide, we figured out the clones may have been created by Dooku, and then they go... And then they go, oh, we can't tell anyone. Uh-oh, we'll just have to trust the clones.
They cover it up.
Dude, but what the hell? They just had the inhibitor chip scare with Fives and Echo, or not Fives and Echo, Fives and Tup.
Tup, yeah.
And they're just going to forget about that? That happened like 5 weeks ago, guys.
Yeah, like, what if Dooku is going to use the chips and the clones?
It just seems like a solid connection to think about.
But I think about how inept our real-life institutions are, and I'm just like, well, how can the United States Senate drop the ball on this? It's so obvious that a dumbass like me can see it. And then, so it's like, yeah, kind of like the Jedi Council being just as flawed as our real-life institutions.
Yeah. I do like because I don't actually super love the Jedi, like, as an organization. I still strongly believe they should not be kidnapping... Okay, y'all don't like that I use that word, but taking kids from their homes. Some of them, I think, are too young to make the decision themselves, right?
Yeah.
So their parents are making that decision. I don't think that's fair.
But to be fair, I think if you are a kid in Jedi training, you're allowed to quit at any point in time.
Sure, and then what? Go back to a family that has probably already mourned your loss and maybe they are dead, or maybe, like, I don't know, there's a lot of factors. They don't feel comfortable around their parents because they weren't raised around their parents anymore. I don't know, that'd be a really big decision, a really difficult decision to make. And, I don't know, I think, like, I hate the way that they treated my girl Ahsoka during her mistrial, like, her framing stuff, like, that was ridiculous, and they didn't even fucking apologize.
It made for a good TV show, though. I loved watching it. But yeah, it was fucking terrible.
They constantly are dropping the ball, because they're so, like, fuck emotions, don't be emotional, like, suppress your shit.
Because that's the thing of the Clone Wars. That's the thing.
I know.
It's like everyone is just programmed to be this drone to go do its mission. It's like the droids, the clones,
like,
the
that's
Jedi,
their downfall.
The politicians. Like Padme has to go through that. It's like.
Yeah, but like that's where they're failing though.
Yeah.
It's like they're not listening to their intuition if they're blocking their
emotions. Which is kind of the point of Star Wars, is to turn off the targeting computer and trust your instincts. You know, it's like. You know deep down in your soul the right thing to do and do it. Like, that's kind of like the point of Star Wars.
Yeah,
and
like, that's why, like, when I watch, Luke become the teacher later, I was excited about him being, like, because, he is very emotional and ties that in, and, like, he leaves Yoda's training because of his tie to his sister and Han.
Mm-hmm. And
I think that's smart. That's something that they actually use in Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Kind of like how in Starfleet Academy recently, when they explained Sisko back in Star Trek Deep Space Nine, that he was chosen by the prophets, and they wanted him, like, they told him, like, oh, don't marry this woman, don't go have this other life, it'll end in tragedy. But then it actually, like, it was beneficial to have done that, and it taught the prophets a lot. Mm-hmm. Because
they're always thinking about the one person that they think it'll affect, instead of the ripple effect of the people around that person.
Yeah, they need to learn how the prophets could learn from the emissary too.
Right.
It's like the Jedi need to know how to learn.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, like, if they led more and weren't as afraid of listening to their instincts and emotions and trying to suppress those things, or I guess I shouldn't even say just emotions, but, like, attachment specifically is, like, their thing. I think that they would do better and have better quality politics probably, too, and be less stupid in making decisions about their Padawans and their clone army origin. And I don't know. I just feel like maybe they'd be a little smarter. But...
You see, like, the Jedi Order and the Acolyte, 100 years earlier, and they kind of seem like they would, they're on the decline, but I think they're, like, still...
You think they're worse or better?
They're way better. They haven't, and then this is the further decline. Mm-hmm. And then, like, them having to become, like, these war fighters, which they never wanted to do, which they're not supposed to be doing. That's not really, like, the point of them. And just becoming, like, these tools of the state. That's like the final nail in the coffin.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of that goes back to the stuff going on in the Acolyte about how, it seemed like the Jedi were causing such a big mess, trying to police force use, basically. Like, here's a cult of force users that are different from our cult of force users. And just like the questions that was concerning them, then like the government was getting involved, like the Republic. You clearly see that was like kind of the beginning of like the Republic trying to like regulate the Jedi, and then here what we have 100 years later, where both the Republic and the Jedi Order have like jointly declined. It's interesting. They've kind of like they drug each other down.
Yeah.
I see a question in the audience from Chris Garris. He wants to know, Taylor, what is your reaction when Yoda whipped out his lightsaber in the Clone Wars? Everyone in the theater lost their shit in a good way. God, I may need to pull that up on YouTube to watch. Yeah, and I remember that in May of 2002, in Attack of the Clones. Yeah,
okay.
It was because they didn't put that in any of the trailers or anything, so it was kind of a surprise. But people had been talking about it on the internet that there was going to be this big CGI battle.
Yeah. I actually didn't have a strong reaction. I was very young when I saw it for the first time, so I don't think I really thought about like Yoda with a lightsaber. That didn't like mean anything to me, I guess. But I do think that was a good fight. He was very spry for his 900 years taking on Dooku, but I don't know. I don't know. I think.
But you like action Yoda. You said like that's like your favorite use of him.
Yeah. Sometimes he's a little flippy.
When he spins around like a Tasmanian devil.
Yeah, that's a little much. But it's entertaining, I guess.
I kind of like, his whole thing from The Empire Strikes Back though, when he didn't use a lightsaber. We never saw him or Palpatine with a lightsaber in the original trilogy. Uh-huh. And it always to me felt kind of weird to see them with lightsabers in the prequels. But maybe that's like maybe Yoda in the swamp in The Empire Strikes Back. Like, yeah, maybe like he looks back at like, oh, I shouldn't have picked up a lightsaber. I shouldn't have.
When he's looking back on the prequel time.
Yeah, he's like, I shouldn't have.
I think
been a soldier swinging a lightsaber.
I think it totally makes sense. I think like in context of like, oh, Yoda has a lightsaber because this is the Jedi normal. Like this is the Jedi Foundation, whatever you want to call it. Council, that's not what I'm trying to say, but like the Jedi Order, that's what I'm trying to say. It's like they all have lightsabers and it makes sense for them all too. But I think like later, like in the original series or the original trilogy, it makes sense to me that he wouldn't use one because he's let that part of his life go. And I hope feels a lot of shame for how shitty he was during the Clone Wars. And he's wrecked with regret. Yeah, and
the whole time he's on the swamp.
I think it's like it makes sense for him to not pick up a lightsaber anymore.
Like check it out. He lived for 900 years, and then after the Clone Wars, he goes into exile and then dies. What, like 23 years later?
Yeah.
So he was like, I think like the grief and the guilt took a massive toll on him. Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't mind him having a lightsaber, and I also get why he wouldn't have one in the original.
But I said like the same thing about Palpatine. Is like I didn't really like him having a lightsaber in Revenge of the Sith, but like the Clone Wars, when I see him fight Maul and Savage, that's one of like the best lightsaber duels.
He was literally cackling. He was such an asshole. Like he literally is just so stoked to beat up those two boys.
You know what? I listened to that podcast that Dave told us about, A More Civilized Age, and I wanted to hear what they thought about that episode, because I knew they were like big fans of the Maul and Savage Opress stuff from other things I listened to. And they pointed out how Palpatine can be like the strong, powerful Dark Lord, but he doesn't get to like revel in it and like show it off to anyone. He has to pretend to be this meek, mild politician, Palpatine. And Maul gets to actually, be the kind of like cool, badass Dark Lord with like these people groveling before him. Even if it's behind closed doors in the political scene of Mandalore, it's still kind of like basking in the glory so much more than Palpatine gets to. Yeah. So like that would clearly, piss him the fuck off and make him want to come down there and spank his ass.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I have any other thoughts on Sacrifice. I guess like Yoda sees all the spoilers from Revenge of the Sith, but he doesn't have context. He just sees like hooded Sidious stabbing Mace Windu and Kit Fisto, and
but he also sees the clones against the Jedi. Like there's shots of that.
Yeah,
they're fighting each other.
But maybe on Kashyyyk, when Order 66 goes out, he's ready for it. The clones don't get him.
Yeah.
So
again, maybe he could have warned some other.
Maybe he was.
Jedi.
Maybe he gave up on the Jedi Order itself. Maybe he was like.
He's like, I guess I'll just let it fall.
That is dark as fuck, and there's no way I think Lucas or Filoni would have ever meant that, but I don't know, maybe.
In a way, though, how do you see those flash forwards, I guess, and not think, oh shit, all these things I just learned about the clones?
I mean, if it's like a Dune, like Paul Atreides, like prescient thing, like seeing the future, and like that looks like it's like the only path. You know, if he does like Doctor Strange and Avengers, and he's like, I've seen all the possibilities. Yeah, like if that was like the only way for the New Hope, like maybe, like, yeah. But damn, that's
I don't think he's that intentionally menacing. But
is that even menacing? But also, that could be in a way that could be like a dark benevolence, though. If he's
But see, his little demon dark Yoda thing has been squashed.
Oh, it's a gremlin. It looks like a gremlin. It
does. It looks straight up like a gremlin. What was that in the first or second one of this arc?
That was probably the third one.
Really hard to watch that.
Or no, it might have been the second one. Yeah, I think it was in the swamp. Yeah.
Where it's like this evil, cackly, dark, shadowy Yoda.
Yeah, like the Force is strong on Dagobah. Like where Luke goes and sees that vision and the Empire Strikes Back. Like that's one of those vergences in the Force. Like in the Acolyte, they called that planet a vergence, and they called like Anakin, his virgin birth was a vergence. That's
so dumb. Well, no, but that didn't happen on Dagobah. The evil Yoda that was on Moorband.
Okay.
In the trials. But
Mark Hamill, speaking of his voice acting, Darth Bane, the original
cool.
Sith Lord.
Nice.
And yeah, one of the cool things about that is like speaking of coming back as a blue glowy ghost. Mm-hmm. Sith can't do that in the Star Wars lore, but a Sith can be a Force ghost that haunts a specific location where they died.
Or item.
Yeah, they can hunt items,
that would be way cooler if Anakin had come back as Darth Vader Force ghost. But not Force ghost, sorry.
Like if he haunted Sith like the Vader...
Ghost, like the Vader helmet?
That's the thing, like there's been like helmets, like Sith helmets, they're like possessed by that Sith, and if you put on that helmet, then you become possessed.
Yeah, that would be cool if he was in the Darth Vader helmet. That would make the Kylo Ren shit make more sense.
But I thought that would have been a cooler use of the Emperor, a way for him to come back in the sequel trilogy instead of him being the clone or the whatever the hell he is in The Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be a clone. But if he had just been a ghost, like haunting that Death Star wreckage or something, and like, you know, Rey or Kylo could go there and have a conversation with them, and you get Ian McDiarmid to come play Palpatine and totally kill it because he is great at that role. And I think that would have been a much better movie, but that's not what happened, and I just have to accept that and move on. But yeah, Cad Bane was he wasn't the original Sith.
Cad Bane.
Not Cad Bane, Darth Bane. Darth Bane was the Sith who invented the rule of two. Mm. Because back then, 1,000 years ago, there was like the Sith Empire, and there was a bunch of Sith at war with a bunch of Jedi, but the Sith were always fighting each other because they all wanted to rule the Empire. And so after they were all defeated, Bane was like, okay, just two at a time. But then we see like the Sith kind of cheat on that rule, and they have their side apprentices, and so, but it's more like a rule of thumb, you know. So, I guess that's it for that arc and for Season 6 of the Clone Wars, but we're not quite done just yet. I want to talk about some other things. the unfinished episodes, Crystal Crisis on Utapau. There's 4 of them. A Death on Utapau, In Search of the Crystal, Crystal Crisis, and The Big Bang. These used to be available to watch on StarWars.com, and according to people like Dave Filoni and Pablo Hidalgo and the people in charge of making Star Wars, they still count these stories as canon, as well as like some other ideas. They have like a bunch of scripts finished for Clone Wars episodes that never got made. Now some of that became these. So some of them got wrapped up when they finally did season 7, but that was only 3 of their planned arcs. There is also the novel Dark Disciple that was an adaptation of what would have been 2 4-episode arcs about Asajj Ventress. And there's also this Son of Dathomir comic book, which is pretty cool. If you're following the story of Darth Maul, right here between season 6 and season 7, the last we saw him was in season 5 when he was on Mandalore and was defeated by Darth Sidious. And then Sidious is torturing him with lightning and says, well, I'm not going to kill you, I have plans for you. And then we don't see him again until season 7 of the Clone Wars when he's still on Mandalore. But if you read this 4-issue comic miniseries, there's this whole other story of Maul was a prisoner of Sidious and eventually escaped and returned to Mandalore. But Taylor, I was just recapping that comic to you. I'd read it before, but I reread it last night. But yeah. It's a pretty cool story if you're into Darth Maul stuff and Mandalorian stuff. But it has Maul versus Dooku, Maul and Dooku teamed up, Maul versus Grievous, and Mother Talzin shows up in there.
Yeah, some big spoilers that I don't know if you want to talk about, but.
Yeah, we can spoil it. We can spoil anything but Skeleton Crew on this show. That's the rule.
But, the reveal that Mother Talzin was actually Mother Maul.
Yeah, she is Darth Maul's bio-mom, confirmed in this comic.
But also she worked, would you say she worked with Palpatine or she worked with Dooku?
She worked with Palpatine. They used to do what they described as like experiments, mixing his dark side power with her magics. And it almost makes me sound like, whoa, is Maul like their kid?
I think so. That's what it sounds like to me.
So it's kind of like Sidious is like, Maul, I am your father.
Yeah, but I literally don't give a shit.
So that would make him Rey's uncle, Uncle Maul.
Interesting. But honestly, it ends on Mandalore season 5. Maul arc ends with him being lightning struck by Sidious, I should say. And then, like you said, he says, like, I still have plans for you. And then we pick back up with Maul still on Mandalore. I never questioned that Sidious just tortured him and left him there.
Yeah.
Like, I never thought there was anything more that happened between that and that. Like, I always thought,
there's a lot of time that passes.
He got tortured into working for Sidious. And I think in my mind, I just imagine, like, Sidious said, okay, keep holding down Mandalore, and I need you to distract this Padawan person.
See, I think that you'll think this makes more sense now, because in Season 7, Maul is very against Sidious, and he's like, oh, I'm actually doing all this shit because I'm trying to get Kenobi and Skywalker to come here so I can kill Skywalker, because he's going to be the right-hand man to Sidious.
I feel like I would have totally still been on that same page with him because, one, Sidious was literally shocking him to death and killed his brother, who I think he really did care about. And the only thing that Maul really cares about is Kenobi. So I feel like, he doesn't, the only reason he would team up with Sidious. It doesn't
make sense for Sidious to, leave him there to do this stuff,
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying. But I'm saying that I think Maul would be fine, like, pretending to do whatever Sidious wants and not really... He, like, kind of, like, waiting for his... If he got a chance to kill him or something, he would. But
yeah, in this comic, you see Maul held at the prison, the Spire, which actually shows up on screen in Rebels. That's where they capture Kanan, when they use Luminara as bait for him. That's the same place where Maul was a prisoner in this comic. And the first appearance of the Mandalorian character Gar Saxon.
Okay.
Who he'll eventually turn out to be a Mandalorian bitch for the Empire, who just like rolled over and served the Empire when they conquered Mandalore. And here you see him being a bitch for Maul. He's just like gung ho to go rescue Maul. But the Mandalorians with like Darth Maul horns glued to their helmets, they come and they rescue Maul from the Spire, and then we get like this big battle. He still has the Pikes and Black Sun. The Shadow Collective, by the way, that's what his organization is called. I couldn't remember the name of it last time. The Hutts don't serve Maul anymore in this comic, but he still has the Pikes, he still has Black Sun, and he still has a bunch of Mandos. But Grievous and his droids wipe out a lot of them, and eventually the Black Sun and the Pikes, they're like, man, like Maul isn't protecting us. We're gonna break out of the Shadow Collective, and Maul captures Grievous and Dooku, and actually like he gets attacked. They get attacked by the Jedi. Obi-Wan Kenobi leads some Jedi and clones, and Commander Cody is there, and they attack, and you see Maul and Dooku team up to escape the Jedi, and then they go back to Dathomir. Maul is communicating with like the spirit of Talzin all this time, and then when they get Dooku there, Talzin actually possesses Dooku, and so Sidious shows up on Dathomir himself with General Grievous by his side. And Grievous fights Maul. Talzin, in the body of Dooku, fights Sidious. And somehow, this was kind of like comic booky logic, I guess, but Sidious shoots the Force Lightning at Dooku's body while he's possessed by Talzin, and that gave Talzin enough energy to form like a material body. Like, she appears as like a material person in like form, like comments on it. So we were right, Taylor, that she was kind of a spirit in the disappeared episodes, because this takes place after that.
Yeah.
But then Grievous stabs her with 2 lightsabers and kills her, and she's like, "Bye, my son, Maul," and she like yeets him away with the Force, and he goes off with his Maul-Delorian commandos to eventually, re-attack Mandalore in season 7. But
yeah. The writers were like, I don't think Maul's been through enough.
Let's kill his mom in front of him.
Let's let him
Let's
find
give him
out.
an Anakin, yeah.
He said, let's find out that he has a mom. Oh, you liked that? Too damn bad. She's dead now. Like, damn. It's like, what is Miles's joke? Like, can never be happy on Deep Space Nine?
O'Brien must suffer.
Yeah, but it's like Maul must suffer.
Taylor said, what was it called? Miles can never be happy. O'Brien must suffer, but yeah, it's basically the same thing. Miles can never be happy.
Anyway,
that was the Son of Dathomir comic. So cool. Now everyone knows how Darth Maul escapes Sidious and gets back to Mandalore. Or as Taylor pointed out, like, if you don't question it, it really doesn't seem like a big deal at all.
Yeah.
Taylor, you and I have both... let's do Crystal Crisis on Utapau next.
Yeah.
That's next on the list. So these are the lost episodes. They're on YouTube. They used to be on StarWars.com. They're funny to watch because it's the story reel format. It's not the finished animation.
Yeah, they don't walk, they slide. And they don't talk, they just have a mouth.
Yeah.
And they have see-through arms and abs.
And the expressions are very broad.
And they don't have eyelids, so they just look shocked the whole time.
But it's actually pretty watchable, I think.
It is.
You get used to it after a while.
After the first episode, you're like, all right, we're good.
The voice acting is good, and like the music and the editing is all there. It's just it just needed like...
It's just not refined.
Yeah, it just needed the animators to come animate.
It's basically the story block.
Yeah.
And it honestly... I kind of joked. I was like, honestly, this kind of looks like season 1, like animation. Just like, I was like the blockiness of it.
Oh my god! And the next thing we're watching is season 7, so it's gonna be mind blowing.
Yeah.
But the first time I watched the Bad Batch arc of Clone Wars was actually in this format like 10 years ago on StarWars.com, and then like they redid those episodes in high quality for season 7.
Yeah.
But it was like the same story. Like they find Echo and he's like all cyborgy, and I was like, man, that would be such a weird actual episode if they actually made that. And then when they did season 7, that was one of the ones they actually did. The one I thought was like the weirdest of all of these, with like these like weird deformed clones. Like you should see the that version of like Crosshair and Wrecker. They look
crazy.
I mean, like they're recognizable as who they are in the actual Bad Batch, but yeah, they look interesting. Yeah.
Well. My favorite part of the Crystal Crisis...
What's the story of it? Do you want to...
Oh. I'm not a good at... Okay, I don't know. They end up on Utapau because there's a dead Jedi that they want to investigate.
Right, another, like, investigation thing.
Yeah, let's just feel free to add on because I may have plot holes.
But it's the planet with all the big pit holes and, like, lizards that make an annoying noise.
They have a lot of species on this planet, which they mentioned in the opening. But it's so they kind of like rule out like which species probably killed her, and then they go looking for those species, and they end up captured by that. These primitives out in the plains. Because Anakin can't stay awake on his watch.
That's kind of a weird term. Like they call them primitives. Like that's kind of fucked up. But but there's weapon dealers, right?
Yeah, but they get captive.
Yeah, because Anakin wanted to be captured. Like Anakin,
he says that as a cover-up.
He was supposed to keep watch, but then he falls asleep too, and they get caught. And Anakin was like, "I did this on purpose so that we could get captured, so that we could find out what they're up to."
Yeah. So then they get taken back to their like camp, like base thing, and they're like pretending they want to buy the crystal instead of letting Grievous buy the crystal. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then they're like, show us the goods. Like, and they're like, well, I don't remember exactly how all that happened, but then Grievous kind of like pops in.
Yeah, Grievous
is like, you cannot back on our deal.
Grievous is coming to buy a giant Kyber crystal that like surprises Anakin and Obi-Wan. Like even like that big of a Kyber crystal could exist.
Yeah.
And it's obviously meant to tie into the Death Star.
Right.
We know from Attack of the Clones that the Geonosian cricket people have the Death Star plans. It's something that they're trying to build. And it'll eventually be built for Palpatine's Empire. And so, but this was the type of Kyber crystal that will be at the heart of the Death Star. You know, like in Rogue One, they're having to dig up all the Kyber on that planet Jedha, but... Mm-hmm. I'm trying to look up the character. You thought you knew the voice actor playing him in these episodes.
I thought it was the guy that plays the Emperor's secretary in Mulan. He kind of has a very distinct voice, so I feel like I'm right, but it's likely I'm wrong too.
I think it's someone doing a voice to sound like him.
Oh, really? Okay. I also don't know if they would even have brought in like the special voice guests to voice like for the storyboard, you know? Like it may have just been some random person that was just filling in the voice for like the side characters and stuff. But what I really liked about the Utapau arc, the Crystal Crisis arc, is when Anakin and Obi-Wan are like about to sleep in the field or whatever, and Anakin's like really pissy, and Obi-Wan is basically like, I know that you're grieving Ahsoka, and he's like kind of like, do you want to talk about it? And Anakin's such a little shit, like he's like, there's nothing to talk about.
Obi-Wan's
like, sure, nothing to talk about.
No, he says something like, I suppose there isn't, or something. Like, he agreed very quickly.
Yeah. I was like, okay, that's annoying and sadly probably pretty true for like a lot of people who aren't ready to open up. But I liked having that interaction where there's like this, obviously it's weighing on him and he's still thinking about that.
Okay, it actually is James Hong.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I was right?
Yeah, I was thinking like, man, they wouldn't have James Hong for this, but yeah, that is James Hong
Cool.
voicing that character.
I don't trust my ears often because I can't hear well, but when I do. But we were just talking about the Ahsoka mention, so I liked that.
And it's kind of messed up, though, when part of why Anakin seems so choked up on and so, like, hung up on Ahsoka is that he views it as, like, people judging him as a Jedi that has
oh, yeah.
about his
He
apprentice.
was like, well, how would you feel if I walked away? Would you be as disappointed? Yeah. And I was like, why is this about you at all?
But the way he said that to Obi-Wan, like, would you rest well if I became a big disappointment? You as my master who taught me? And then Obi-Wan says, like, no, I don't think I would. And so I was like, damn, I guess you're not going to get much rest in your life because I got news about your former Padawan Anakin.
Right.
But I do like, I do like them taking the time to, like, miss Ahsoka and mourn her. We were just talking about how, like, man, none of the episodes we're talking about tonight have Ahsoka, and we miss her absence. But she's coming back.
We miss her presence.
We miss her presence.
Yeah.
In her absence. But we're going to get her in, like, the next thing we watch, so that's cool. But there's a lot of Obi-Wan and Anakin banter.
Yeah.
You want to hear something cool? You know those escape pods that they have to jettison in?
Mm-hmm.
And, like, Anakin he can't get his hatch closed and all that. In that Dathomir comic I read, when Grievous makes his escape, he gets in that exact same looking escape pod.
Oh, that's
funny. I was like, what really good continuity. See, like, I'm so jealous of, like, when Star Wars gets stuff like that right all the time. And, like, in Star Trek, we can't even get, like, you know, uniforms to match from one show to another or whatever, but... anyways.
There's something else. Oh, this kind of... I mean, I'm a little rusty, but there was a very large Kyber crystal in Rebels, too, that they...
It's Death Star.
It's, like, almost the same kind of story.
That's part of why I like this, though. This is like a prequel for Rebels, which shows the Empire doing their Kyber build-up.
Right. So I think it's cool that we kind of got to see it actually done in Rebels, where we see the crystal and how it's going. But it's kind of a similar, like, take the crystal back episode. It is crazy. I do kind of want to know, like, I guess for a minute I assumed that all the Kyber crystals came from that one planet where they all visited the younglings. Ilum. But it sounds like there's actually Kyber crystal on multiple planets.
Yeah, it's
like Jeddah.
It's rare, but a few planets have it, is my impression.
Okay.
And then Ilum eventually gets turned into one of these Kyber-powered weapons. Ilum is what becomes Starkiller Base in The Force Awakens.
Okay. That big planet that explodes.
Yeah.
The snowy one.
Yeah, the one that Poe Dameron blows up.
Han Solo dies there.
That is the same planet where those younglings were getting their Kyber crystals.
Interesting. You did tell me that. I remember that. Okay, but yeah, I don't think I have any more thoughts on the Crystal Crisis.
Okay, so Taylor and I have both read the novel Dark Disciple, starring Asajj Ventress and the Jedi Quinlan Voss in the towards the end of the Clone Wars. I think it's been a while since either of us have read it, but it's pretty memorable. I guess it's like the broad strokes are after losing her lightsabers to Barriss, Asajj Ventress is continuing her career as a bounty hunter, and she uses a bow and arrow, kind of like how her Night Sisters did. But the Jedi Quinlan Voss, who we see a couple times previously, would actually get a big role here, because these were going to be episodes of the show before they turned it into a novel after the show got canceled. But they're going to send him on a mission with Asajj Ventress. Like, the Jedi Order are going to do, like, this very dark, shady thing, questionable thing. They send them on an assassination mission to kill Dooku. And in that process, Dooku captures Quinlan Voss, turns him to the dark side, takes him as his apprentice, and then Asajj Ventress gets Quinlan back, and but she dies. And Obi-Wan and Quinlan bury Ventress on Dathomir. And if you watch Tales of the Underground, is it Underground or Underworld? Tales of the Underworld, you see what happens after that.
Yeah.
But that is cool that the Tell stuff like tied into this novel.
Mm-hmm.
But did I miss anything from Dark Disciple?
I mean, they kind of have like a romance.
Oh yeah. Quinlan Voss and Asajj Ventress fall in love in the process. So it's very cool because you see you don't really see like dark side people in love, or you don't really see Jedi people in love, and this is like you kind of see them like meet in the middle, you know.
And there's a big respect, I think, between them. It's not just like,
oh,
we fell in love because we're the stars of the show. It's like, oh, we have a lot in common.
Yeah.
And we both are traumatized, and we both are doing our best, and we're both really skilled people.
I think it is kind of corny when Quinlan Voss becomes this dark side separatist general serving Dooku. It just seems a little. Yeah. It's like, man, like he switched sides real quick, and then he comes back real quick.
Yeah.
But other than that, I really liked the novel.
Yeah, I did too. I liked being on Sereno.
Oh yeah, I love seeing that the separatist point of view, because they have to go they're undercover to infiltrate to get close to Dooku.
I like that Dooku has his own world, or whatever, his own palace, or. But I think that was cool in the novel. We really get to explore that building specifically because that's where they're infiltrating, and so you kind of get a lot more details about the architecture and the layout and stuff. And I remember really liking that scene where she's basically there looking for Quinlan.
Yeah, that's something I've learned to appreciate a lot more lately, is how cool Dooku's planet is. Yeah. I love that room that he talks to the Sidious hologram all the time in.
Yeah, it's like a nave. It's huge. Yeah. It's it's almost like a cathedral.
But yeah, I like Dark Disciple. When I saw Bad Batch for the first time, I was like, oh, are they retconning this novel? I like Dark Disciple, but then Tales of the Underworld fixed what I thought the shows were contradicting. So if you like Asajj Ventress, I highly recommend it. It's probably the best story starring her out of any of those.
Yeah.
And then I don't really have much else to talk about. I just want to mention that there is also a planned bounty hunter arc that never got made into a Clone Wars episode. The reason why I bring this up is it would have been about Boba Fett and Cad Bane crossing paths, and Cad Bane explaining to Boba that he had history with Jango Fett, and Cad would take Boba under his wing and train him to be a better bounty hunter. And they would have this falling out where Boba, he finally gets his green Mando armor, and Boba, still voiced by Kid Boba actor Daniel Logan, who we're going to see soon at SpaceCon. But him and Cad Bane get in a duel, and you can actually look up on YouTube this footage that they showed at the Star Wars Celebration Convention in Orlando in 2017. They showed this clip in the same kind of unfinished animation style we were talking about with the Crystal Crisis on Utapau. But they show this clip of a duel between Cad Bane and Boba Fett, and they shoot at each other, and it puts the dent in Boba's helmet, but Boba also gets a shot on Cad Bane, which the story would have been that Cad Bane has a metal plate in his head after that going forward. And then even though they never made that into the show, that never made its way into Clone Wars, they still ended Book of Boba Fett as if this was a thing that wasn't canon. Because that would be the perfect conclusion. Yeah. So, Maybe one day they'll I don't know, show that in a better format than that clip from Celebration 2017.
Yeah.
But that's everything I have to say about the unfinished, the lost missions. I think is how I described it in the episode title for this show. So
yeah, I'm excited for season 7. This is the season I've seen the most. Like I watched season 7 over and over again.
It's funny. I guess I've seen all of Clone Wars the same amount of times, but it's the one I've seen in the most recent years because I had watched the other shows before season 7. So, but thanks everyone who was hanging out with us live. Thank you everyone watching or listening to this later. We'll be back soon with some Clone Wars the final season talk. So until then, remember, the Empire is for bootlickers. Be a rebel, and may the Force be with you.